for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well, from Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000 Sports Radio to 21000. Our Myers Supercenter guest line, 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. And you can find us all individually on Twitter as well. Danny Cahalan is at Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AAC Bellino. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. What's going on over there? Anything good? Anything happening?
The Tigers keep doing it. They jump back into second place. Some person named Lonnie Walker showed up and played some basketball last night. Yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah.
The weather's getting better. The weather, it looks like it's finally broken. Like it's going to be consistently decent now.
Oh, so this isn't another false summer.
Oh, it's like
it's like a trick like the first one was.
I mean, Friday it looks like it's going to rain, but the rest of the week it's Thursday it's 80 and sunny. So
80 and sunny on Thursday.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic, man. Congratulations.
I'm excited to golf and
get outside.
Yeah, and go outside and not have a coat on, like a hoodie and a coat, just maybe a t-shirt.
Yeah, just throw a little polo on and go outside and throw some shorts on. Enjoy the sun. Maybe throw on a little sunblock just to be sure.
My Irish skin, I definitely 50 SPF.
Wow, 50 SPF. Yeah, I don't have that issue, thank God. But it is I'm happy, man. That'll give the good folks something to look forward to, right? Just give them something. Get them outside. Get them doing something, and that's vitamin D, man. You got to be able to see the sunshine. It's an important fact of life.
I'm just seeing here from last night. Or the Orlando Sentinel put out that Orlando has proposed a new baseball stadium to MLB.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about that. What would you put in Orlando?
It's maybe an expansion franchise. Orlando Dreamers, they're suggesting.
Oh, that's a terrible name. The Orlando Dreamers. What in the minor league baseball is that's not a professional baseball name. That sounds ridiculous. The Orlando Dreamers.
The stadium looks awesome. It'd be great for the glass cleaning guys because the entire roof is glass. It's clear glass.
That sounds like it's going to be expensive come hurricane season. That's I wonder what kind of glass that is. Oh, that sounds expensive. I don't know. Not me. The Orlando.
Maybe Dreamers. They have one of the.
Is that the worst name you've ever heard?
Maybe it looks awesome. I will say the cartoon version of the stadium looks awesome.
Cartoon version.
What
Mickey and Minnie running around outside the stadium.
No, it's just
the renders. The renders.
Yeah, exactly. With the fake people.
Goofy's just rolling around. Welcome to Orlando. The Orlando Dreamers. Good God. If they do an expansion franchise in Major League Baseball, I know obviously Nashville's one of those cities that's very high up on the list. If Oakland moves to Las Vegas, that's still 30 teams in the league. Oakland's not getting other teams, so you don't have to worry about that. This is the first I've heard of Orlando. Nashville has. People have talked about Montreal again. I don't see the Expos coming back. I can't imagine something like that. But then again,
remember they even tried to. Weren't they suggesting doing 20 home games there or something a few years ago, that couldn't get done.
Whose responsibility was that? That was a COVID related thing, right?
Yeah, I think it was. You're right. I think it was.
They were going to try to play some games up there, and it's like, oh well, we could just go to Montreal. Like, I don't know about that. I've heard it's a great city. I've never been.
Somebody said the Orlando renderings look like Wendy's in 1997.
Oh, they got a sunroom?
Yeah.
Some fake plants? That's a good plan. It's the Orlando Dreamers. They better not. That's terrible. Come on. The Dreamers? Did you see what's her name said yesterday, by the way?
What's her name?
What's her name? Who's the girl that was pointing at her finger? That
looks like what's her name?
They were the big talk of the town there for 3 days, or for like 3 hours after the national championship game. It was Caitlin Clark, and who is she going up against? What was her name?
Oh, Reese, Angel Reese.
Angel Reese was posing for Sports Illustrated.
You got the show on in the background?
No, I don't know why, but you could hear your audio through the.
Oh, maybe Ryan's mic was on.
I don't know what it is. But anyways, so Angel Reese is speaking to Sports Illustrated while doing. I don't know what she's doing for Sports Illustrated. In the photos that I got, they were bikini photos, so I assume this is for the swimsuit edition, but I'm not sure. But she wanted to discuss during the bikini-clad photo shoot the double standards between men's and women's basketball players. Quote, "We work just as hard as men. Women can be who we are. Women can be competitive." No one's debating that. No one's refuting those claims. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? No one is saying anything to the contrary. In fact, right now, in today's day and age, I'm glad somebody's standing up for women. Good for you, Angel Reese. Good for you. Nobody's saying that you can't compete. What's the issue? I don't like the taunting. That's all it was. It was a one-day story. It's over now. We've moved on. That's it. Like, I don't know why. You're going to go to Sports Illustrated and get into the swimsuit edition. And then talk. You know me. And if you listen to the program, you know where I stand. Here we go. The Orlando Sentinels renderings. What in the futuristic stuff? What is this? That looks like really, really cool looking stadium.
It looks like a great stadium.
Very expensive. It's giving Wendy's 1997 vibes. That is fabulous. Well done by that. But so I'll retweet it so you can see it up there. We got a lot to get to in the show. Kyle Barlow's going to join us. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about LeBron, Steph, the NBA, all kinds of good basketball related stuff with Kyle Barlow. Ryan Hana for the Wingmeal Pod. He will join us on the Red Wings got the screw again for the umpteenth millionth season consecutively in the lottery. We got Tigers baseball coming at you next, though. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Have you ever played golf at Tullymore, St. Ives? Have you experienced a stay-and-play package in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of Grand Rapids? Well, here's what you need to do if you want to take advantage of great deals right now. Go to tullymoregolf.com. That's tullymoregolf.com, and you'll see the link for packages, accommodations, dining, meetings, weddings, events, and so much more, and especially golf on the 18-hole layout at Tullymore and the 18 holes at St. Ives. And they can accommodate any group, whether it's 2 people getting together or 200 looking for a weekend or an overnight celebration. That includes a little business, golf, great food, and beverages. Just go to tullymoregolf.com. That's tullymoregolf.com. They're located in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of GR. Get more info at tullymoregolf.com.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base!
Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street, you're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
sports all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros. You know, with our meteorologist in the studio with our first alert weather forecast. Dan says that weather's getting good, so that's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to go out to Tullymore Golf Resort, Canadian Lakes, Michigan. Head on out there, folks, and enjoy not one but two championship courses, two of the best courses in the state of Michigan, plus the best golf carts you could ever imagine. That might not sound like a lot to some of you people, but to people like me, it makes all the difference in the world. That's where you're posting up. That's your home. That is your method of transportation for that day. So why not be comfortable? And they are fabulous. It's Tullymore Golf Resort, Canadian Lakes, 1 hour north of Grand Rapids, about 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. Visit TullymoreGolf.com. That's the website, TullymoreGolf.com. Or pick up the phone and call my friend Matt Golden at 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Let's get to a text message that came in. The defense is still in a prove-it state. Goff goes down with a severe injury, and it's SOL. Where does that come from?
I think that was just in regards to whatever we were talking about at the end of the show yesterday.
Oh, okay. Defense still in a prove-it state. Well, they proved it over the last, 10 games of the season. So, I mean, done that. They've only upgraded. They've only improved on paper. But everybody is in a prove it because everybody's upgrading on paper. And if you're not upgrading on paper, hell, your team might actually have upgraded because sometimes upgrading on paper doesn't even actually mean anything. All right, let's get over to the Tigers, shall we? Let's talk about them. They did it again. Oops. They did it again. Last night against the Cleveland Guardians, the Br0's, as they like to call them, with, speaking of the Orlando Dream, another fake MLB franchise, the Cleveland Guardians, one of the worst names in professional sports. I can't think of much worse with their makeshift, goofy children's cartoon from the 80s logo.
The name's not awful. The logo is terrible.
Oh, both atrocious.
The name's just whatever.
Get them out of here. But the Tigers, now that's a real logo and a real franchise. It's a real team, too. 6-2 winners last night. Ladies and gentlemen, cooking with a little bit of gas right now. Just 2 games back of 500. Winners of 6 of their last 7. Folks, the boys are buzzing a little bit. Joey won 2/3 yesterday. 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Did give up a home run through 92 pitches. I don't know why 92 kind of feels like the sweet spot right now, but it seems like everybody's just looking to throw 92 pitches. You got a home run from Ibanez. You went 5 for 14 with runners in scoring position. That's not terrible.
Yeah, it is amazing that they're minus 37 and they are 2 games back of 500. That is a miracle.
Well, they've taken some bludgeonings. It's the 7-1 games that really screw with your run differential. It's the 7-1, the 8-0. Games like that can really tinker with what that number looks like. But, yeah, I mean, as we were talking yesterday, same thing, like run differential, like where you're at in your last 10.
Houston,
categories, it's like, what?
Houston is 1 game ahead of the Tigers. They're 17 and 18. They're a plus 18.
If we could get any run support at all, we would basically be the Tampa Bay Rays. Basically. Your boy, Eric Haas, 3 for 4 yesterday, 2 runs scored. Ibanez 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored. An RBI, a home run, drew a walk. Miggy was 1 for 4, 2 strikeouts, get it over with. Akil Baddoo, 0 for 4. That's rough for him. Torque was 1 for 4.
Speaking of the Miggy hit, did you see that? I don't know how late in the game you were watching. That was, I think, in the 8th or the 9th inning he had the hit. And Miles, it was a laser to short right center. and Miles Straw kind of looked over at first base, like he was gonna try to throw Miggy out, and Miggy like rounded first base and like kind of stared at him and shook his head. It was pretty funny. I don't know if anybody else caught it, but I caught it.
He's a character, right? He's somebody that enjoys the game. He likes to have fun. We wish he was more productive, but at this stage in his career, like that's what he is. He's a big smile. He's kind of like a little big goofball. You know, oh, look at Miggy out there. He's kind of like his own little attraction at the zoo, if you will. Mr. Miggy. Torque was 1 for 4 with a walk drawn and a strikeout. Same for Maton. Maton also had an RBI. Javi Baez 1 for 5 with an RBI. Oof. Only 1 strikeout, though, so that's a good number. Riley Green was 2 for 4. McKinstry was 2 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI. Green added a couple RBI. This team drew 7 walks yesterday and only had 7 strikeouts as a team. I think that in itself, those right there, those are some winning numbers. I mean, how many times can we look at the Detroit Tigers and say to yourself, this team almost had as many walks as it did strikeouts? Usually that strikeout number is 9, 10, 11, 64, right? You got to be able to show some plate discipline. They did that yesterday. It's a good outing for them.
Yeah, and just for everybody's knowledge, our arch rivals, the AL East, 4 out of the 5, if the season ended today, would make the playoffs. They hold all 3 wild card spots in the American League.
Their worst team is the Yankees at 19-17. Despicable. How do you all have winning
But at
records?
some point, they're going to play each other.
Or do they ever have to do that?
I mean,
or is it just us?
That's
It's like, oh, they don't worry about Rays Orioles.
Well, here we do.
Rays,
We do have right now. We do have Baltimore playing Tampa Bay, but Toronto's playing Philly. Boston's playing Atlanta. That really helps, if you're playing National League teams, and so later on in the season, it'll balance out.
There are only, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Boston Red Sox right now currently, and the LA Dodgers are the only 3 teams. Rays, Red Sox, and Dodgers, the only 3 teams right now that have been better than the Tigers over their last 10 games. I tried to tell you people we were going to win the AL Central. No one wanted to believe me. I said 162. Nobody wanted to believe me.
Yeah, so I don't see this. These always confuse me. The record against 500 teams, over 500 teams, Tigers are 4-15. So those are the AL East teams, unfortunately, that they were playing. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, 11-3. Wow, the Red Sox have played pretty much every game this year. They've played 27 games against teams over 500 already. The Red Sox.
How is that even possible?
I don't know.
Listen to me stutter right now. They've played 27. They've only played.
They're 14-13 against teams over 500.
They've only played 36 total games, and everybody they've played is over 500.
I guess so.
Heavens to Betsy. That's a pretty good number. But all in all, like the American League, outside of like the Oakland Athletics, which are an absolute disgrace, at 8-28, they are just they're minus 129 already in run differential. So anytime you think you have it bad, just go ahead and look to the Oakland Athletics and just get ready for them to sell their team. They are the worst thing that's ever happened to Major League Baseball. Outside of that, you got the Royals that are terrible, and everybody else is still somewhat competitive. White Sox, those are the 3 worst teams right now. 2 of them come out of the same division.
Love it.
White Sox, the Royals. And
I love it. That's great. Sounds lovely.
Well, and the thing about it is remember last year, like, the White Sox were kind of like a sexy pick going in, like, oh, the White Sox are going to win the Central. Ooh, like, geez, what happened to you guys? Goodness gracious. What happened to guaranteedrateffield.net or wherever you play at? Ugh. All right, we're going to step aside. When we return, we're going to talk some basketball. We got to talk about what was said yesterday on the radio. I don't know if you guys heard, but a very famous, coach has something to say. And, wow. We'll talk about it next year, X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
The 1-2. Right side, there it is! Hey, sports fans, here's a hanging curveball that you can knock out of the ballpark. This is Matt Shepard, the voice of Detroit baseball, inviting you to step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sports book where you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today. Eagle Casino and Sports, made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Glass City, GR to the Motor City. You're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Go hard in the paint at Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, Michigan. Man, one of my favorite places to go. Dan, did I already answer this? Did I already do this? No, I'm having like deja vu.
You did a read last segment. I don't know which one it was.
Okay. All right. Then you're correct. What I need to be telling you about is the NBA playoffs and Steph Curry. That's what I need to be telling you about. And the NBA playoffs action means big hoops action over at the DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the association. Get in on all the excitement of every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, everyone can score on the no sweat same game parlay every day during the NBA playoffs. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place the same game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Sign up using the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline at 800-270-7117. 21 plus Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, deposit restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. There we go. I'm glad I got that all sorted out. I had a little bit of a moment there early this morning. About 36 minutes after the hour here on this Tuesday. Big night of NBA action last night. But first, something that happened yesterday that, my goodness. Okay, so I listened to a portion of it, and the longtime West Virginia men's basketball coach, Bob Huggins, was on the radio. And he was doing an interview with a Cincinnati station yesterday.
It was almost like he didn't know. It seriously seemed like he was just like he thought he was just talking to a couple of his buddies.
Like he didn't know it was on the air.
Yes. Because it was just, he's an extremely casual dude in general, but this was beyond casual.
So during the appearance on the Bill Cunningham show, which is on News Radio 700 WLW, Huggins was asked about the former rivalry. You know, remember he was at UC and he was taking on X. Dougie Fresh, his ears are going to perk up right now. So, Xavier, Cincinnati, he was there from 1989 to 2005. And Huggy Bear says this. Any school that can throw rubber, I can say the word. I'm gonna choose not to, but a rubber toy that simulates a man's body part. You know what I'm saying? On the floor, and then say they didn't do it. My God, they can get away with anything. The Buffalo Bills fans are also famous for doing this. They will throw these objects onto the playing surface, which is illegal, and if you're caught doing so, you will be removed from the stadium. And you could suffer legal consequences. Cunningham then responded, I think that was transgender night. Huggins said what it was all those slur that starts with F.
Gay slur.
Yes, gay slur that starts with F. What it was all those bleeps.
Synonym for a cigarette.
Those Catholic synonym for cigarettes. That's what he said. Those Catholic slurs. And so I see it. Barlow is actually the one that sent it to me. He's like, did you see this? And I'm like, so I click it and I'm listening to it and I'm like, here's the thing. Bob Huggins, because now this is what we have to do. As someone who is Catholic, this doesn't bother me at all. Honestly, it's a story because of the world that we live in today. So let me be very clear. What Bob Huggins said, as a person who is Catholic, I could not care less. I'm not.
Okay.
Hold on. I am not offended. I might have laughed. That's about all you're going to get out of me. Because I am in the 99 percentile of the people that aren't going to be offended and throw outrage and fits on social media about every little thing that, oh my God, this is offensive. No, you find it offensive. The rest of us don't care. So, but here's the issue. If you take what Huggy Bear said, remove the word Catholic and throw in Jewish, throw in Muslim, throw in Buddhist, throw in
Hindu,
throw in, I don't know, somebody's race, I don't know. Then, because of who Huggins...
Presbyterian.
You Mormons, right? Because of what Bob Huggins, Huggy Bear, because of what he looks like, then they're going, then this might, who knows? I don't know where this story will be at today. I really don't know. All I know is we have to talk about it because if he says anything outside of Catholic, he's more than likely gone yesterday. There's nothing you could do about it because that's the society that we live in. But because he said Catholic and he's a white guy, it's like, but me, I don't care.
And
it doesn't matter.
I'm going to guess, Robert Huggins, I'm going to guess he maybe was raised Catholic.
At least Christian.
Yes. I'm
as a multi-layered Christian myself, I had a hard time telling you what was Christian and what was Catholic to begin with. I wanted to know why we got to do roasted lamb in the parking lot, and while the other people we got pancakes. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was just a kid. I didn't know what was going on.
Hey, we got mimosas with those pancakes, okay?
You didn't get mimosas. You got orange juice out of a little
we do now.
crusty machine.
We do now.
The machine ass orange juice. So Huggy Bear, terrible. It's just like pulp everywhere. Just in those little tiny plastic cups. You got to keep going up there. Can I get a real cup, please? Can I get like a solo cup? Why do I got this little dentistry?
But I have the
clear
communion
plastic?
shooter for
the communion shooter. Thank you. So Huggy Bear says this. I'll be interested to see what happens.
Do you guys? All right. Do you know the origins of that slur?
The bundle of sticks.
Yes. So right.
Yes.
So the bundle of sticks, when they would burn witches at the stake.
Yes.
And they would also burn people they thought were people they were.
I thought you burned witches with more witches.
That's right. Never mind. If you haven't seen that movie, yeah. Anyway, so when they would burn the said witches, they would prosecute alleged gay people, and they would say they weren't worthy of being burned at the stake. Throw them with the. That's how the word came about.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes.
My knowledge of the Salem witch trials is pretty limited. I did see that film with M. Night Shyamalan that was pretty strange, The Village, which had nothing to do with burning witches, but it was just kind of set in like old colonial times until they crossed the highway and they're like, wait a minute, this isn't real. Here's my issue with this whole story about Bob Huggins. And you might see this, we might not. It all depends because this happened yesterday, and at 5:21 Eastern, a statement of apology appeared from Huggins. Earlier today on a Cincinnati radio program, I was asked about a rivalry between my former employer, the University of Cincinnati, and its crosstown rival, Xavier. During the conversation, I used completely insensitive and an aberrant phrase that is simply no excuse for. I won't try to make one here. I deeply apologize. As I've shared with my players 40 years, there are consequences, blah, blah, blah. Nearly 20 minutes later, a statement from the university came up on the Mountaineers Athletic Twitter page, insensitive and offensive remark. Okay, we'll see what happens here. If it wasn't Catholic, if it was something else, that I guarantee, I would be willing to bet that by 7 o'clock yesterday, it would have been mutually parted ways. we've decided to go in another direction, has been fired with cause. There would have been something there, I guarantee. But
I can't believe it didn't happen anyway. Like,
well, that's the thing. It didn't happen because, and I want to make this clear. Like, I don't care. It's not offensive to me that somebody said that. 99% of the things that somebody's going to say to you are not going to do anything. They're not going to do any physical harm to you. And we have to get over this. We have to be able to get over this. Like the number one story in America today probably should be something that you're not even going to see anywhere on the internet, because I didn't see it for God knows how long. And I was like, wait a minute, why am I not? So why do I have to search this? Her name's Ariana Preston. Do you know the name Ariana Preston?
I feel like I did hear about this, but I cannot remember what the story is.
So she was the off-duty police officer that was shot and murdered in her front yard while off-duty at 1:45 in the morning by somebody who already had multiple gun charges dismissed in Chicago. But nobody wants to call a spade a spade. Nobody wants to call a criminal a criminal. You can't do that. When the teenagers run around destroying property and the people that live and work in the South Loop, like my sister, are told to go home early because the teenagers are gathering and the mayor comes out talking this nonsense, everyone's afraid to touch the topic. Like a criminal is a criminal. But it doesn't fit the narrative of what you're supposed to see on television. Hey, guess what? Ariana Preston is a black woman in America. I'll give you $12 if you can tell me who the shooter was. Okay, and it happens nonstop. And it's the same thing with the Huggy Bear stuff. Like, you're oversensitive to all this other stuff. Like, stop worrying about all this other nonsense you're constantly seeing on the internet and worry about stuff that actually matters. So if they fire Bob Huggins over this, so be it. I'm going to tell you right now, as a Catholic male, I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
I mean,
you're going to hear worse from 12-year-olds on the internet when you play Call of Duty. You're going to hear worse. I guarantee it.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but as somebody who is not me personally, not obviously, but somebody close to me, a family friend, had dealt with issues with the Catholic Church and his sexual orientation. So I don't know. Catholicism and everything else should not mix. That's basically my opinion on it. And leave your religion away from everything else you do in your life, I guess, other than being nice to people.
Yeah, they're all their nuts and bolts are all the same anyways. They all have a book. They all believe in a central figure, right? And the rules.
Most of us believe in the same God. We just believe that there's a different messenger that came down here.
And the rules are all pretty solid. Don't steal. Don't kill. Don't bang your neighbor's wife. Like okay, all right. These are all legitimate rules. I have no problem with this. Like it seems pretty straightforward, right? I might be a little bit more on. We should probably have more. Like I don't need like super. Like, and this is weird because you get like those super like crazy people, those radicals. They come in all shapes and form. You got people riding bikes up to your house and throwing stuff at your door. I don't need any of that. And I don't need somebody to put like a rock band out there on a stage somewhere at a church that they just pop up and built out of nowhere. Like, no, I don't need any of that. But I think more people that fear God is probably a good thing right now. In today's society, absolutely. Hey, well, just follow the rules. That's all I'm asking you. That's it. Don't be a criminal. Follow the 10 rules that I have. You probably have some rules of your own. If you'd like to share those, I guarantee you there's some overlap. That's fine. I have no issue with that whatsoever. But my goodness, I mean, this nonstop anarchy out here. Everything is offensive, but only if it comes from one person. Because if it's constantly said by another person, it doesn't matter. That rule doesn't apply. And it's like, well, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So if they fire him, that's why they fired him. If you see Bob Huggins got fired, got a text here. See, they got rid of if they got rid of AM radio, we never would have heard Bob Huggins. Bob has always been obnoxious since his Cincinnati days in the mid-'80s. That sounds like something Doug would say, who's got something after Huggy Bear. I don't care. Speaking of AM radio, more than 80 million Americans depend on AM for their news, traffic, weather, sports, and community connection. It's also the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe during dangerous times. So why would you not have AM radio in your car? There's actually talk right now about AM radio being removed from new cars and trucks. So, I mean, do you think it's right that you should lose access to your favorite AM station? I mean, some of you are listening to us right now on AM radio. You need to make your voice heard is what you need to do. Text the letters AM to 52886 and tell Congress to keep AM radio in all cars and trucks. I can't believe we even have to have a debate about this.
It really is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Also, big national story. Since we're all over the board right now, big with that Title 42 dropping. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the video. Texas has declared a state of emergency. Same thing's happening right now in Arizona. Here's the deal. I'm all for it, right? You can. Yeah, if I wanted to move to Italy, I would love to be able to fill out the paperwork and apply legally and necessarily to do it. That's where I stand. Like that, you can't just open the doors and have a bunch of undocumented people running around. That doesn't work anywhere else in the world. It doesn't work anywhere else in the world. Like you have to. If I'm going to move to Norway, I'm going to have to go through the process. That's it. Like I don't know where this open border I don't know where that theory came from, but I'm to pay attention to what's going down there.
My cousin and her husband just got to go back to South Africa for the first time because she overstayed her visa the last time. She was barred for 5 years
from South Africa.
Yes.
What are they doing?
She met her husband. No, she moved. She moved there for an internship.
Your cousin moved to South Africa.
Met her husband. They got married. She overstayed her visa. And then they had to move. They didn't have a choice. They had to move here, basically, or
wait a minute,
not see each other for a while.
When they got married, that didn't grant her citizenship?
I guess not.
Wow, new rules. Okay.
Let's see that. With my buddy who lives in Spain, he actually, with his partner, before they got married, just filed for domestic partnership, so he would stop being booted out of the country every 6 months from Spain.
Wow.
So he could, because he had his work visa.
Did that all happen when you guys were on your trip?
No, this was years ago. He would get work visas, but the work visa would expire. Then it'd take time to get a new one, and he'd have to leave Spain. So instead of going through that every few months, they just filed a domestic partnership before they actually went through and got legally married.
Wow. There you have it. There's a couple of news and notes and headlines of global politics for you. We'll be right back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Got any plans for Mental Health Action Day? You do now. Join us online on Thursday, May 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. for In Tune, a free live stream event featuring performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to find out how you can log in and join the celebration for free. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day. Take action. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org and join the celebration.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Huge here for all the Mr. Car Wash locations. I think there's close to 30 across the Huge Radio Network. For the one close to you, go to MrCarWash.com, and there you can join their Unlimited Wash Club. Now, this is a quick and convenient way to keep your car shining all the time. It's everything you love about getting your car washed in a simple, easy-to-use, affordable plan. As an Unlimited Wash Club member, you will enjoy all the benefits of washing as often as you like, no long-term contract, convenient monthly billing, and now you can be rest assured with a contactless visit. So go to MrCarWash.com right now, sign up for their Unlimited Wash Club Pass, and that means you can get your car washed at any Mr. Car Wash location across the Huge Radio Network or anywhere in America. And for the location close to you across the Huge Radio Network, you can also log on to MrCarWash.com.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Vietnam.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Tuesday morning to the 9th day of May. I mean, it's getting hot. It's a little heavy. I was a little heavy in hour number 1. Don't worry. We're coming back. Just my thought and opinion on it. And some people are like, whoa, don't do it. Dougie Fresh is like, oh, I'm not touching that topic. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I understand.
Because Dougie Fresh wants to call for the immediate expulsion of Cincinnati Athletics, even though it's not how that works because he's not at Cincinnati anymore.
It would look. Cincinnati's got a football team, so they're not going anywhere, Doug. They're not going anywhere. But yeah, it's for the Huggins topic. Look, that's my opinion on the matter. It's okay to have an opinion that might differ with somebody else's. It's totally fine. And what we've lost here is the ability to have two differing opinions without cancel culture taking over.
And it's okay to be wrong on certain opinions, like Jokic was completely okay to run into the crowd unwarranted.
It's totally fine to have differing opinions on Jokic or on politics or on religion or whatever. But you have to be able to have differing opinions on the matter, and and you have to be able to do so in a way that you can actually converse, and it doesn't become this outrage all the time. It's like the worst thing that's ever happened to our society. My God, people, pay attention to stuff that matters. Stop messing around with all the fluff. All right, there's plenty of stuff that matters in the sports world besides Bob Huggins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close that tab. If you've heard about it, great. If you haven't heard about it and you're just now tuning in, you're like, what have these guys been talking about? Wow, we've covered a lot. We've covered Title 42. We covered a murder of a police officer. We've covered Bob Huggins using Catholic in regards to a slur for gay people. We have covered the Tigers. I mean, man, it's been a lot so far. But what else is going on in the sports world? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
All right, huge news. The Detroit Tigers won another ball game and improved to 16-18 on the season, beating the Cleveland Guardians 6-2 yesterday. Good for them. What a showing it was. Very happy for this Detroit team. Joey Wentz gave up a couple of quick hits for his first win. So congrats to him. Riley Green drove in a couple of runs. Things are looking up right now for the Detroit Tigers, who are willing themselves to victory. Now, I've already seen it, so let me address it right now. It doesn't matter what GM brought in what players. This is the roster that we have assembled. I don't want to see Avila's guys or this is all Al Avila. He's gone. Scott Harris is here. If you think that Al Avila was wrongfully fired, take that up with management. The Detroit Tigers will play again today at 6:10. Dan, do you have to work that game?
Dan has stepped out.
Dougie
Fresh has made a comment. It was immediate expulsion of UC Athletics. Wes Miller's already taken care of that for the men's team.
Ooh, but the Chicago Blackhawks have won the NHL draft lottery last night, earning the right to select the phenom Connor Bedard. Blackhawks last selected first overall in 2007 when they took who? Patrick Kane. Chicago had the third best odds to win the first overall pick this year at 11.5%. Very disappointing for Detroit Red Wing fans. The Wings, who, were slotted for 9th. That's where they ended up at. No ping pong ball luck. I don't think that it's rigged. Personally, I don't think that it's rigged. It's strange coincidence that the Blackhawks, who had the third best odds to get the number 1 overall pick, they end up getting the number 1 overall pick. I don't know if there's a perfect way to do this with the lottery.
It's always leery when those big market teams that are struggling all of a sudden fall into some lottery luck, or in the NBA terms, like, oh, LeBron's coming back to Cleveland. Let's give him 5 straight number 1 picks.
Or LeBron left Cleveland, so let's compensate Cleveland for it. I get it. I understand. I don't know. Until it's actually done on live television, I understand why people are skeptical of it. So I'll leave it at that. But there's no perfect way to avoid franchises from tanking. Right? That's all they want to do. All they want to do is make sure.
Oh, there's one way to do it, and I do it in fantasy sports. Is that whoever doesn't make the playoffs gets put into a tournament. Winner gets the number 1 pick.
You could do that. I just find it very hard to incentivize.
Oh, it'd be impossible because then it's like some teams are just constantly. If a team's just not good, then they're just going to be never in contention for the number 1 pick.
Right.
I'm telling you, it's the best way to do it is after the trade deadline. Whichever teams don't make the playoffs, those teams ranked record after the trade deadline. That would determine the draft order.
So best record post trade deadline that didn't make the playoffs would then receive the number 1 pick?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Then you could see some weird tanking in the final 3 days of hey, we're 1 game out of the playoffs, but 2 games up on the number 1 pick.
Wow. Yeah.
That'd be some fun math.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily think that a team would bounce out because once you're in, you can win. It seems that there might be that belief now to the NBA. I don't know.
So it's tricky.
You just don't want teams like Philadelphia tanking for 10 years to just load up on number 1 picks. That's what you don't want.
Detroit.
Yeah. Nikola Jokic won't be suspended for the incident on the floor with the Suns owner, Matt Ishbia. Ishbia did release a statement yesterday, which, by the way, that was the play. He did the smart thing. He took to Twitter and said, look, great win for the Suns last night, an amazing series so far. Suspending or fining anyone over last night's incident would not be right. I have a lot of respect for Jokic and don't want to see anything like that. Excited for Game 5. Go Suns. New guy on the block. You just got here. Really good statement, Matt Ishbia. That's exactly what you wanted to do.
Right. You don't want Jokic suspended. Suns win the series, and then it's just oh, well, they only won because the owner got shoved. And the best player was suspended.
Not only that, I think that you want to get out of the way at this point. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You are the owner and a new owner of a team. I think that you want to try to steer clear as much as you can
of
out of the
a
headline.
controversial. You took over a controversial owner. And you're within 2 months, you're already in a skirmish on the floor.
Yeah, you don't want to, don't be skirmishing. The LSU women's and UConn's men's title teams are going to visit the White House, which is customary for championship teams. Oklahoma and Texas have reached deals with the Big 12 for their 2024 move to the SEC. The Board of Regents, yes, they approved. Whatever, Board of Regents. Iowa and Iowa State are investigating athletes for gambling. The University of Iowa announced yesterday 26 athletes across 5 sports: baseball, football, men's basketball, men's track and field, and wrestling, and 1 full-time employee of the athletic department are suspected of wagering on sports in violation of NCAA rules. Iowa State acknowledged that roughly 15 of their athletes across 3 sports, football, wrestling, and track and field, are also suspected of violating gambling rules. This is what was going to happen. You knew it, but you wanted to legalize it. Down 3-1, the Warriors offer a reminder. We've made history before. The Warriors lost last night 104-101 to the Los Angeles Lakers. LA leads that series 3-1 as it heads back to the Bay Area. Miami leads their series 3-1 after a 109-101 victory over the New York Knicks. And the NFL is going to release their full 2023 schedule Thursday night at 8 o'clock. We'll step aside. We're back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Have you ever played golf at Tullymore, St. Ives? Have you experienced a stay-and-play package in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of Grand Rapids? Well, here's what you need to do if you want to take advantage of great deals right now. Go to TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com, and you'll see the link for packages, accommodations, dining, meetings, weddings, events, and so much more, and especially golf on the 18-hole layout at Tullymore and the 18 holes at St. Ives. And they can accommodate any group, whether it's 2 people getting together or 200 looking for a weekend or an overnight celebration. That includes a little business, golf, great food, and beverages. Just go to TullymoreGolf.com. That's TullymoreGolf.com. They're located in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, less than an hour north of GR. Get more info at TullymoreGolf.com.
Life as a grown-up. Not what you thought it would be, right? The meetings, the stress, the boredom, and that one big question, does any of this matter? Then you became a cop. Not what you thought it would be, right? The pride, the honor, the love for the brothers and sisters who served with you. The family who reminds you how much you matter. Being a cop, not what you thought, right? Just what you needed, I guess. Visit MichiganPoliceChiefs.org.
You're listening to Michigan's statewide morning show, X's and Bros, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you ride along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well, from Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. Text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000 Sports Radio. 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176. 248-951-2176. On Twitter at XB Mornings, at Facebook, X's and Bros, all that good stuff. That's Danny Cahalan and Ryan Elke. I'm Anthony Bellino. It's great to be with you. Hey, by the way, it's hour 2 at segment 2. You know what that means, guys? Are you guys ready? Do you have any idea?
Hit it.
Time for Detroit Lions trivia. Tough one today. Very exciting. This is Will and Comstock Park's favorite portion of the show. What defensive back was the second round? What defensive back was the second of the Lions' 2 selections in the third round of the 2021 NFL Draft? He was a DB.
Will Harris. Nope, that's way too late.
Nope. 2 selections in round 3. Who was he?
Jerry Jacobs.
No, he's
Jerry Jacobs, UDFA. Jerry Jacobs. Fatu Melanfonwu.
No. Yeah, would have never gotten there.
What can Melanfonwu do for you? Might have a branding.
Barely nothing.
Might have a branding opportunity for him there. Detroit Lions trivia. I like Will the Cynic. That's what I like. Cynical Will. Maybe that's what we can call him. He's always driving somewhere, but he doesn't like Detroit Lions trivia, which to me is preposterous. No, I don't think he was wrongfully fired. It was time for a new voice, but he did bring in talent, Guardian AJ. AJ's first year went well, then everything that could go wrong went wrong, so I'm actually happy Harris is here, but he will win because of hashtag Avila guys like Harbaugh won a bowl game with Hoax play. Oh, all right, so new rule then. When you take over as a GM, you're not allowed to have anybody in your roster, and everything's an expansion team, but you can't draft anybody.
That's what Deion Sanders is doing.
Deion Sanders, dude. I hope they win less than 4.5 games this year.
Why? Why do you hope that?
I don't. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it already. Just go coach. Why are you on the sidelines wearing a jacket that says Prime and not wearing a jacket that says Colorado? Why is that?
Why do some coaches wear suits? Why do some wear khakis and pullovers?
Okay, so
why do some wear sweatsuits?
Khakis and pullover. What is on that pullover from the khaki reference you just made?
Could be anything.
Could be anything. You're right. Typically, for my coach, it is a block M. For your coach, it's typically a Spartan logo. For Nick Saban, there's typically the cursive A, the Alabama A. Kirby Smart, he's a visor.
Some coaches wear flashy, sequin, blazers.
Who wears a flashy seat?
Kim Mulkey.
Okay, all right. Basketball is different. There was a suit culture that is kind of dissipated post-COVID. A lot of people are still very relaxed. Kim Mulkey wants to
everyone's
dress up
gone
like a
to
disco
the
ball.
pullover, which is like you should be. You don't need to wear a suit on the basketball sideline.
Right. You just put on your Nike golf pants.
Wear golf pants so you're comfortable.
Yep.
Wear your most comfortable polo.
Throw a quarter zip on.
Yeah.
We just got to get rid of the hoods for coaches.
Yeah.
The hood look is just
looks weird.
It looks ridiculous.
But he does me a hooded sweatshirt. He's not making any.
Oh yeah, jeez, yeah.
I'm not going to pull that. Just
yeah, don't do that today. Today's been very touchy feely today. You know, we don't want to get it. But yeah, I think that Michigan had one. For the kids it's fine, but for the adults, I just don't see the hoodie. It's just not. they don't make one that's a real good look. You know what I mean? Like Izzo, they had the green one. I just like, why? Just grab some scissors, cut that off. You look great. You look great, coach. Look at you out there, kid. You're doing great. But you just get rid of that, and then we could all be happy. But basketball's moved on from the suits. There are some that want to stay true to the suits. It's fine. Wear whatever you want. I just think it's unnecessary. You can just wear golf pants in a quarter zip or some sort of team branded pullover, and that's fine. For Deion Sanders, I'm getting. I like prime time a lot. I do. But you came out and you hooted and hollered about the collection of schools that you just left. You left. You don't need the money. You're already wealthy. You were going to make this difference. You were going to do this. You're going to do that. And then you left for greener pastures. And for a myriad of different reasons that need to be addressed. Who is coaching at, it's not Eddie George. Who is it? I was listening to an interview who is also coaching. I think he might be in the state of Tennessee. They were just talking about, look, we got to get some things under control. Like, we're in Tennessee. We don't need to be buying some sort of boat to be traveling up and down the river. We're misusing our funds here. You know, there's multiple layers. But, Prime, you said you were going to stay there and you were going to do something. Then you left to go to Colorado, and then you come back and say, well, only one player got drafted from this collection of colleges like the NFL is out to get. The NFL is out to get the best players available. Like our guy, Brad Holmes, is an HBCU guy. He drafted James Houston, right? I don't care where you went to school. Just when you get to the NFL, be able to perform. That's all I ask. It doesn't matter to me where you went to college. And so Prime just seems a little disingenuous. You know, he walks into campus. He's like, I brought my Louis bag. I brought my own luggage. Like, I don't like any of that. I don't care about your designer luggage references, dude. Like, get over it. So, I don't know. It's just me. I just have regular luggage. I don't want Louis luggage. Why would you? Whatever. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to the coach, Kyle Barlow. We're going to talk look, there was a little bit of a conversation we had yesterday that I am going to ask him about in regards to some retiring of jerseys because, and hear me out, as more and more of this happens, because this all came up because LeBron said the Lakers need to retire Anthony Davis's jersey. To me, that's not, he hasn't done nearly enough to get his number retired. Nearly enough. And then I would ask you this. When LeBron James, when he retires, who retires his number 23 or his number 6? Like, who does it? Do the Miami Heat? Because I saw a post yesterday that said
all three. Are you serious?
All three teams are going to retire?
Absolutely.
So the Lakers will retire 6, the Heat will retire 6, and the Cavs will retire 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, so will Ohio State.
Ohio State. Okay.
And USC.
And
Duke.
USC now.
And Duke.
Hey, Duke. Yeah, big Duke guy.
And the Cowboys.
Cowboys. I was going there next. Cowboys. Hey, you know his baseball team?
The Gardos. And the Yankees.
He's a big Yankees guy.
Syracuse.
Hughes. Do it for Melo. But if Anthony Davis would have led the Pelicans to anything, then I would say New Orleans might look at retiring his number. But they can't retire his number. He didn't do anything there. What did you win of? Like, you can't get your number retired unless you are a catalyst for winning something, being something. To me, I also don't believe everybody should make the Hall of Fame. I think there's a Hall of Very Good. But if somebody said to me, like, is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer? I don't think so. Well, he won a Super Bowl. So did Trent Dilfer. Is Trent Dilfer a Hall of Famer? No. Is he a part of the NFL story? Sure. I don't think that Matthew. That's just me, though. I know other people might disagree. So I'm going to ask Coach Barlow about that and about the NBA playoffs and the Jokic thing. All coming up next here, X's and Bros, and the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Galen, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you and joining us now as he does on Tuesday mornings. A Concordia alum who did his GA years under John Beeline at the University of Michigan and now is on the bench there at Ohio University for the Bobcats. Our good friend, the coach, Cal Barlow. Coach Barlow, my friend, good morning to you, partner. How are you? How's life? How are things?
Things are going, man. Things are definitely going. Stuff's moving. Some people are doing vacation right now. We got the golf clubs. They're starting swinging, practicing for the 2 club invitational. Things are going, man.
Wow. We got who's on vacation? Who is this person you speak of?
I'm just saying, May's a vacation month, man. I'm not going to call anybody out, but May's a vacation month.
Man, vacation sounds sensational right about now. Lots to get to for us, partner. First off, because we're going to talk about it with Ryan Hana a little bit later on in hour number 3 of the program. Do you have any thoughts? Would you like to share any words about the NHL draft lottery? Do you got anything you want to get off your chest as a real Michigander?
As a real Michigander, and I was a Red Wings fan, believe it or not, before the Pistons, Tigers, and Lions. I was a Red Wings fan, number one, partly in part because Mighty Ducks, great movie, got me really interested in hockey and wanted to play from a very young age. But huge Wings fan, 95 Cup when they lost, 97 when they won, just always been a Wings fan. And what can we do? Who do we got to talk to that just keeps screwing over this team? I mean, they make the world align for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they cannot help but shoot themselves in the foot every time they're even a semblance of being good. But the Detroit Red Wings, the gift that keeps on giving, the national brand, the worldwide brand. We brought the Russian Five. We go into Sweden. We brought European hockey to a mostly Canadian, American, North American NHL. And it's like, what do we get repaid for it? Not a single ounce of luck. We have the 6th best odds, we finish 9th. We have the 9th best odds, we finish 9th. We have the 2nd best odds, we finish 6th. Like, what is going on, Bellino? What? And I was on this radio program a year ago saying it, and a lot of people are like, well, we'll just find Stevie Y, man. Stevie Y will find high-end talent in the middle of the first. Well, you know what's easier is if everybody makes a selection for you. And it's like the NBA. Like, the first overall is going to pick Victor Wembanyama. You shouldn't even have time on the clock. You should just pass it on. Let's go. You know what I mean? So that's what makes it easy. And, let's have a little luck, man. Sidney Crosby went 1 overall, for Pete's sake.
Well, the good news is with Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves on their way out for Chicago, now Chicago gets to have Connor Bedard, who's the consensus 1-1, and those guys on their way out. He's on his way in. Rebuild the Blackhawks. I don't ever remember the Chicago Blackhawks having to release a statement because their logo was being used overseas somewhere as some sort of political revolution. No, it's the Red Wings logo. Okay, the Red Wings had to. We are a global brand, and we can't. I mean, we have the longest stretch of playoff appearances. We've got multiple cups. We've got a history. We got Gordie freaking Howe, and we can't get any. I don't know. I want to say it's the luck. I want to say it's the ping pong balls. I just do not know. Let's go to another sport that's go ahead. I could feel you got something.
I was say, at what point does legacies, do we forget about this ping pong ball luck with the lottery, and legacies are tarnished? Like, heaven forbid, like, this doesn't work out for Stevie Y. I think we all want it to work out, and we're all confident it can, but heaven forbid it doesn't. Can we look back and say, well, you know what? Call a spade, he built the Tampa Bay Lightning, so he knows how to do it. But call a spade, he got terrible luck when he was here. But nobody wants to hear that in sports. Nobody wants to hear that coaching staffs have terrible luck. Like, I'll always remember Rich Rod had a great quote. For his many flaws as he had a great quote. He's like, the Free Press was giving a bleep about his team, right? And he basically said, hey, look, man, like, we didn't forget how to coach overnight. And it's true. Like, you don't forget how to coach. Like, now, could he have handled things better? Yeah, absolutely. The embrace of the culture, all that. But they didn't forget how to coach. Stevie Y did not forget how to build a Stanley Cup team. All he's done is win his entire life. But what if, heaven forbid, it doesn't work out? How will this legacy look? Because people will just say, well, he just couldn't do it at Detroit. No, man, like, it takes a little bit of luck along the way. Every good coach, every good player or GM knows that.
Sometimes you want to just you don't want to have to just turn like Kirby Joseph into a 17-game starter. Sometimes you just want to have Aiden Hutchinson. Right? I'm not saying that Kirby Joseph's a bad player. I'm not trying to say that finding Jerry Jacobs undrafted or Malcolm Rodriguez and James Houston the 6th round. Sometimes, for the love of God, you just got to have Aiden Hutchinson. You got to make that pick. It's got to be, So whatever.
Why get lucky with Tom Brady when you have the number 1 overall pick and can pick Matthew Stafford? You know what I mean? Like let's pick a surefire guy. Like let's not wait till the 6th round to take a flyer on some pudgy kid from Michigan. I'm just saying. No, it's towards your point. Like we're not taking a 6th round pudgy kid from Michigan. We're gonna get the kid from Georgia who's a gunslinger. And you know what? He may have a lower ceiling, but his floor is much higher.
In the words of the great Michael Jordan, sometimes the ceiling is the roof.
Yep, that's right.
Still don't know what was meant by that. It worked out better for Tom Brady than it did for Matthew Stafford. And so
but my point is he still won a Super Bowl. Yeah, he still won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's going to aggravate
Jordan
people.
Said that because, Michael Jordan said that because he played in a dome, so everybody's really confused what a ceiling, a roof, or a dome is.
This is
where
also
they hang 400 jerseys.
Oh, don't get me started on the jersey retirement stuff.
Score 10 points at North Carolina and get your jersey hung up there next.
Bro, win one championship as LeBron's ancillary item as a tag along, as an add-on in the Mickey Mouse bubble, and now all of a sudden we got to retire your jersey. Don't get me started. I don't want to go down this route. Steph Curry, surefire.
Speaking of LeBron,
surefire. Steph Curry is getting his number retired. He's that important. I said yesterday, Kley Thompson is probably an addition to that. I didn't bring up the third member, but it was brought up by a third member of this program.
Kevin Durant. Sean Livingston.
Draymond. And it was like, look, my man just went triple single in game 3. Like, that's not, I know that he's important, but not everybody gets their jersey retired. Like, they didn't retire Ron Harper's jersey. They didn't, did they retire Big Shot Bob's jersey? You know what I mean? Like, if you're getting your number retired, you are 1 or 2, maybe the 3rd, maybe at worst, the 5th best player in franchise history. Like what the Celtics and Lakers have done. Now, granted, they have had a lot of great all-time players because we know how the NBA worked back then. But there's just too many numbers retired. It's too much. It's overkill. It looks tacky. It looks atrocious. It looks like everybody gets a participation trophy. You were on the team, so you get it retired, which brings me to this that was brought to my attention yesterday. Chauncey, Rip, and Ben Wallace. Any you disagree with?
Oh, not at all. Especially since we set the standard of Dennis Rodman, which I would argue with you. Like, okay, so do you think Dennis Rodman deserved his jersey retired in Detroit?
No.
You don't think he should have?
No.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with you or not, but what I was getting at was if his jersey is retired, then Draymond should be. So you know what? I will give you credit, Bellino. You are consistent. If anything at all, you are consistent.
I love Rip Hamilton. I don't want this to. I love Rip Hamilton.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. No.
No for Rip?
No for Rip.
What about Chauncey?
For Chauncey Billups, I do make, because of the championship, the finals MVP, 3-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Defense. I do say yes to Chauncey because as a traditional point guard to average, nearly 20 points during his prime, per game, I think that's a good enough number in that regard. He's a career 15, 3-5 guy. But for finals MVP, yes. And then
I'm watching those games. There's no argument with Ben. There's no argument. His numbers should go up.
Okay, all right. As long as Ben Wallace, Hall of Famer, defensive player of the year multiple times.
He's got more blocks and fouls.
Give it to him.
He's got more steals than turnovers.
Yep.
Like, it's unreal. It's unreal. That's an unreal stat. Yeah, and but here's my thing with Rip and Chauncey. Like I'm fine with Chauncey up there. He's a big shot. What do they call him? Mr. Big Shot, right?
Yep.
But for Rip, I watched those games, Bellino. He did. Chauncey got the Finals MVP. He did. But Rip Hamilton carried that team in scoring when nobody could score. Nobody could score when it was the Pacers and the Pistons. It was an all-out bloodbath, a blow for blow, literally blood and teeth on the floor. And guess who was the only dude to score? It was Rip Hamilton. And guess what he was doing too? Chasing Reggie Miller, a Hall of Famer on the other end. So, like, I get it. The numbers may not support it. I'm just telling you, man, as somebody who watched every second of every one of those games, when nobody could score, who could you count on hitting a mid-range baseline jumper
after running 8,000 feet to get to get that 15-footer on the wing? I get it. I understand it. I just think that when you have that, I don't know, when you have retired numbers, I just there's got to be something. I don't know, something, and maybe it's just me. I feel like anti.
Well, where do you draw the line? That's what you're saying? Where do you draw the line? And if you're gonna draw the line after Chauncey and before Rip, now I'm making a Rasheed Wallace argument. You know what I mean? That they wouldn't have won the championship without him. So you know where I draw the line? Ben Wallace, and that's it. And I'm not in total agreement of Dennis Rodman. I get why they did it, but no, Ben Wallace, man. Like, this dude was a cornerstone. You built around this guy when he wasn't a center in a league that was full of dominant centers. You're talking Shaq. You're talking Tim Duncan. Like, this whole league was built around that position, unlike it is now. And it's like, he was the dude. You built around this guy. And he was a JUCO player who played at Virginia Union University. Gordon Mason.
Let's get to another big man, the best big man in the game. There's no doubt about it. All this Joel Embiid chatter is a bunch of nonsense. You're joking. They just want MVP. They want to differentiate. Nikola Jokic. They got the race of who the player is, and the race of the voters get all in. Jokic is by far the best big man in the league. It ain't even close. Anyways, neither here nor there. He didn't get suspended, but he got fined. What did you think of the play in which Jokic is trying to retrieve the basketball that is being held by a spectator, trying to delay the ensuing possession of the game?
This may be a tired take by now, but the only thing I came out with of that is Tom Izzo is upset because his players don't flop. Like, Michigan State's a lot of things. They are tough. They don't flop. They are not floppers. That is one thing Michigan State is not. Do they struggle to score? Yes. Do they produce high-level pros? No. Do they flop? Absolutely not. That is a tough team. And then you're talking about this guy who was a walk-on, given all this NIL money. Now he's owning the Suns, and he flops? Come on, man. Get the heck out of here. And I think I saw you on Twitter. But, yeah, that was the only response you could have made. I'm glad he made that response of basically, yeah, nobody should get suspended. Well, you think, because you flop. If anything, if anybody should get suspended,
if anything, you should get the $5,000 fine for flopping. That's what it costs you for flopping.
Yeah, no, suspend them. Suspend them for a game. Suspend them for a game. Watch from home. Watch from home, man. Take your PJ back to Birmingham, wherever your office is for your mortgage company that pissed Dan Gilbert off, and go up there and watch the game. You can't be there the next game.
Great win for the Suns last night in an amazing series so far, Ishbia tweeted yesterday. Suspending or fining anyone over last night's incident would not be right. I have a lot of respect for Jokic and don't want to see anything like that. Excited for Game 5. Go Suns. That's the right thing to say, 100%. You get out in front. Don't make it a two-day story. Be done with it.
If they're down 3-1 after that game and they just lost, does he tweet the same statement?
If the ball is bouncing and goes out of bounds, at what point does a fan just stop holding on to the ball? And then there were individuals that made some arguments because obviously
Jokic was aggressive.
But they might not watch Jokic a lot, but that's what he wants to do. Get the ball, get it to the ref's hands, get the ball in play, get everybody set up. Why is he running from this side of the court? Why is he running out of bounds or off the floor? That's not off the floor. They're courtside seats. They're court-side seats. You're on the actual floor.
Which, by the way, did you notice where his seats were? Like, if you own the Suns, if you paid $8 billion, don't you think you can get a little closer? I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't
I'm
know
just
if I
saying.
want to
He was
sit
kind of in the
baseline.
corner.
Yeah, that's
cut
sitting
back
baseline.
a little bit. Like, can I get the Jack Nicholson seats?
You know what, though? I don't want to take those away from people that are going to spend money at my business. So I'll probably be in the owner's box. That's where I'll be.
I want to be down by the action. I'm sitting next to Jack. That's what I'm sitting. That's where I'm sitting.
All right. Hey, you know, that's probably a very, very
You paid $8 billion, man.
That's a lot.
You're not going to have the best seats in the house?
I mean, you do, but I'm going to offer the best seat in the house with my initials engraved, hand stitched by those that stitch like Bentley seats. They're going to come in and stitch that, and then that person gets to sit. Some lucky fan gets to pay for that seat. Is when I run my business. That's how that's.
Why? You interested in making money? You don't spend $8 billion if you're interested in making money.
Hey, look, if I'm a businessman, I sure as hell ain't worried about making friends. Tell you how much. We're here to make money, not friends. I try to remind my uncle of that all the time. He just wants to give everything away. I said, we're here to make money, not friends. This ain't a shelter. We ain't donating anything. What's the matter with you?
By the way, you got any T-bones up there? Because you know, I like me a little ribeye, you know, a little bone-in, a little tomahawk.
You could, for Coach Barlow, you could have whatever you would like. Man, what a great conversation!
But I'll pay for it because we're not here to make friends.
Well, you've earned your keep. That much is for sure. So we can give you one on the house, and we can write that off. That's a write-off. Who do you write it off to? The write-off people. By the way, real quick, LeBron and Steph, no matter what happens in this series, they're both great. It doesn't matter who beats who.
They're both great. This series does not tarnish a legacy or help. It may help promote one, but it definitely doesn't tarnish the other.
LeBron can really only benefit, but if you were to lose to an undersized Steph Curry, well, I mean, I would hate to see what the talking heads would be. Speaking of at the end of this thing, he is Kyle Barlow. Find him on Twitter at KyleBarlow4. Find his work all over the courts. Get some midweek action. Ohio University. Coach Barlow, my friend, as always, partner. Thank you so much for the time.
See ya.
Always a good time to talk to the coach, Kyle Barlow. Hey, folks, NBA playoff action means big hoops action at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the association. Get in on all the excitement every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make $5 pregame moneyline bet, score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins, plus everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay every day during the NBA playoffs. Just open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place the same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117, 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. We are back with hour number 3. Ryan Hana is going to join us on the NHL lottery. What will the Red Wings do next? How defeated are Red Wings fans? Folks, we might have had to sacrifice the Wings lottery ping pong balls to get those Pistons ping pong balls. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. We're back with more after this. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
In the den. Hey, sports fans, here's a hanging curveball that you can knock out of the ballpark. This is Matt Shepard, the voice of Detroit baseball, inviting you to step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sports book where you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today. Eagle Casino and Sports, made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play. How do you look at the Major League Baseball standings? Do you like the parity, or is it troubling that the week started with 13 teams over 500, including all 5 teams in the American League East and only 1 team from the American League Central and National League Central? This can benefit teams like the Tigers and others who would be satisfied with playing meaningful games in September. Detroit has had a few good series in a row and will need to continue that trend, knowing Seattle, a surprise underachiever so far, and Pittsburgh, a stunning overachiever until now, are both coming to town after the road trip. There is more parity through the first month or so in baseball now than in past seasons. That can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your team and your expectations.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street, you're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Got any plans for Mental Health Action Day? You do now. Join us online on Thursday, May 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. for In Tune, a free live stream event featuring performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to find out how you can log in and join the celebration for free. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day. Take action. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org and join the celebration.
We might have just come out with our most refreshing Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer yet. It's called the Essential Collection. It's made with coconut water and real fruit juice, so it's always going to have a real refreshing fruit taste. Can refreshing get any more refreshing? Yep, it can, and it just did. Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, made with coconut water and real fruit juice for a superior taste. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, IRC Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Freddy's Foundation at #PopTheTap at FreddyThePizzaman.com. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com, or email FreddyThePizzaman@gmail.com.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner! To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win! The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker! Kenneth Walker! Touchdown! Spotty! Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes! Caught! Touchdown Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end!
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. It's Tuesday morning, too. It is the 9th day of May, 2023. We welcome you back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahill, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, we say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. You can text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000, Sports Radio to 21000. Our Meyer Supercenter guest line, 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. Danny Cahill is a Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is a Ryan L_Key. I'm Anthony Bellino at AEC Bellino. All right, let's get you all caught up with all the happenings across the world of sports. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news. I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
All right, so big news, this one from Yahoo Sports. Do you remember the guy they called the punt god, Matt Orazia? He was playing for the Buffalo Bills, former Ray Guy Award winner. Do you remember that name?
From San Diego State.
Yeah, his accuser. Yeah, he wasn't even at the house. Wasn't even at the house anymore. Had left the party before it took place. And how do they know that? Because they have video. They have video. And also the woman, the accuser, it was consensual with the other guys in the house that he wasn't even at. And might have done what? Cost him his career? It's got to be jail time. It's got to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's got to be. You cannot falsely accuse somebody of something like that. That has got to be jail time. They have they got a tape. They got a video. He's not even at the house. Jeez Louise. Tigers 6-2 winners yesterday over the Cleveland Guardians. Congratulations to them. One of the hottest teams in baseball. Only 4 teams in the league have a better record over the last 10 than the Detroit Tigers. So good on them. They're back in action tonight at 6 o'clock. Dan, you got to work that one?
Yes, indeed.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I'm there doing the road series and then the home series against, I think the Mariners are coming to town this weekend.
Wow. I like that 6:10 start. That's going to be great.
Oh, those are, good job.
MLB, good job, Cleveland.
Good job, Cleveland. I hate to say it, but yes, loved it. I mean, and the game was still 3 hours, people. It was, ended at like 9:06 or 9:08.
Did it really last night?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm looking for the official time of it, 2:53. So still a longer game in comparison to what we've seen across Major League Baseball since the inception of the pitch clock, which, by the way, saw an interview with Theo the other day. Might have been on Pardon the Interruption, one of my favorite television shows with 2 great all-time sports journalists, Michael Wilbon, Tony Kornheiser. Theo Epstein, that was probably one of the best moves, not only for him, but for Major League Baseball, to take a guy with that kind of mind and then put him in a position to not just help an individual franchise and build a winner like he's done multiple places, but to put him in MLB and help improve the overall product. I think that's brilliant. MLB got younger, they got smarter by doing so. Good on them. 2 games in the NBA playoffs last night. The Miami Heat 109-101 winners over the New York Knicks. They now lead the series 3-1. LA Lakers 104-101 winners over the Golden State Warriors. The Lake Show now leads that series 3-1. 1 game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. My Edmonton Oilers get oily. Boy, they looked terrible last night. 5-1 losers to the Vegas Golden Knights at home in Game 3. Vegas now leads that series 2-1. The NFL is going to release their full 2023 schedule on Thursday night at 8 p.m. 8 p.m., which means, I don't know if you guys saw any of the cool feature that ESPN did on the different front offices, but our guy from Detroit was featured in it. And I can't remember his name to save my life right now. And
For
I
what?
know he's the one that basically is in charge of, I would say, like maybe the creative director for the schedule release videos, because that's become such a thing now, how teams present their schedule.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it used to be, they were talking about, like, you know, I think one guy from the Cowboys, like, it used to be just who could get the schedule online first. He's like, now it's a whole different thing, and it absolutely is. I mean, remember last year they used the guy from Detroit Dust, the Detroit Urban Survival Training, that guy. And he made the paper airplane to the Jets, and he said that you don't have to worry about them. They typically, what did he say about the Jets? They flew the paper airplane in the garbage. That was great. No, they typically, no need to worry about disarming this offense. They typically do it themselves or something like that. It was great. Down to 3-1, the Warriors offer a reminder, quote, "We've made history before." It's a big hole. They're down. Golden State is 1-14 all-time in series after trailing 3-1. Their lone comeback was in the 2016 Western Conference Finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder, in which they bounced Kevin Durant and then would welcome him to their team the very next year. The Iowa Hawkeyes and Iowa State Cyclones are both investigating 15 or more athletes on suspicion of sports gambling. I mean, we knew this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen. We knew it. The rules just have to be, and from what I understand, there is no excuse for Jamison Williams whatsoever. From what I understand, everyone is made very aware, the paperwork they signed, very clear what you can and cannot do. These folks, you know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. I'm going to tell you about DraftKings here this hour. I'm going to talk about it. You're probably participating in it. You know, you're probably, it's one of those things. It was taboo, and now it's out for the public.
The only situation of that where it'd be like, well, that's kind of a bummer, would be like the team hotel, like the night before a game or something, where it's like you're technically not on team property. You are on a work trip, where I could feel like maybe you can misconstrue the rule that way, where it's like, I'm not doing any team activities, I'm not on team property.
You talk about the JMO thing?
Yeah. Like,
Gotcha.
If it was in a hotel, then I could understand, like, okay, I can get maybe some confusion there. If you're at the practice facility, then it's like, yeah, you should know better.
The way that it was described to me was, there is no excuse. Everyone knows what the rules are. They make it clear.
I mean,
like,
there's
all right. I said that. Okay, that's fair.
It's a learning lesson.
The same type of deal is happening. I believe was it Nebraska, and I think Iowa State. There's some student athletes under investigation.
And Iowa State.
Yeah,
was it Iowa and Iowa State? Yeah, that's
26 players at Iowa across 5 sports: baseball, football, men's hoops, men's track and field, and wrestling. And then at Iowa State, they have 15 of its athletes. So
I don't why.
Track and field.
If you're
and
a college athlete, like, don't you have other things on your mind other than gambling on a basketball game?
Bro, you know that group chat I reference? Those guys,
we know the group chat. Yes,
degenerates every day. You're not.
I couldn't tell you.
Way.
I mean,
There's
it's
no
probably
way.
been 3 months, maybe longer since I placed a bet. I don't know.
Oh, mine's been since the tournament.
Yeah, probably around there. Yeah,
These guys can't go 30 minutes without placing something. I mean, we're talking about betting like second English league soccer.
No, well, my brother just moved from Wisconsin. When he moved over, he's like, oh, like I can get in some betting and stuff. So I told him like what my rules are. Very similar in how we handle our money. I was like, do I put money at the beginning of football season, probably after NFL playoffs, and then the tournament. It's like those are my 3 days to like put money into my account.
We're taking Alabama against the spread first 4 weeks of the season, without a doubt. We'll step aside. We're back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
For a lot of us, music and mental health are intertwined. That's why the Collaborative Lab created In Tune, a free live stream event, and you're invited. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day, so take action for your own mental health by joining us from 7 to 9 p.m. Musical performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Barrel-Bones, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to learn how you can join the party for free.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
From Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, you're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros. A reminder, NBA playoff action means big hoops action with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the association. Get in on all the excitement every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet, score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins, plus everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay every day during the playoffs. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, place a same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE. Promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required, folks. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions will apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Great to have you with us here on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Ryan Hana's going to join us. We're going to talk a little bit about the Red Wings getting the screw last night in the lottery, but it might all work out. So Detroit fans, we might have to be willing to sacrifice the ping pong ball for the Red Wings and Connor Bedard in order to receive the ping pong ball for Wemby. Victor Wembanyama. Say it with me, by the way. Wembanyama. This is going to be like, remember the TJ Hushmanzada fantasy football? TJ Hushmama. That's what it's going to be like. Everybody's got a different, it's Wembanyama. You could say it with me. Wemby is the guy. Last night, the Lakers beat the Golden State Warriors. Despicable. 104-101. And I don't want to nitpick. I don't want to do this because I got to cheer for the guy right now. Draymond with 5 turnovers. That turnover at the end of the game, dude, you had the handoff to Steph Curry. You don't hand it off, and you drive to the bucket to jump and pass. Don't leave your feet and pass. Everybody knows this. That's a early on fundamental concept. You're leaving your feet to shoot, but if you have to jump to throw the pass, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, fundamentals have been lost a little bit in the NBA the last few years.
That is but of all people, why you
yell at Draymond when your boy put up a donut last night.
Jordan Poole has been awful this playoffs. He's been terrible. Look, here's the thing. Once again, most fair and most honest. Doesn't matter where you went to college from. My boy or not. Kley Thompson, 3 of 11 from the field last night. Terrible. I mean, Steph Curry's 12 of 30, 3 of 14 from 3.
The Warriors in general, we should have seen this coming. They have not been a good team all year.
Especially on the road. But
yeah.
My God, look, they play at too high of a pace. They're always going to be a high turnover team. Because the pace in which they play leads to turning the ball over because there's more careless activity with the ball when you're trying to constantly run and transition.
Yeah, and they throw a ton of long passes down court.
Yes, they have no problem trying to do that. They also have no answer right now for Anthony Davis. I mean, 23 at 15, whether it's Looney, whether it's Green.
Looney's been ill like the last three games.
Speaking of ill, was it Gary Payton who threw up in his own mouth last night?
I don't know. I fell asleep early on.
He did, yeah, and he held it in.
He held it in on the floor. He barfed in his mouth and then held it in and then waited for the Golden State to get possession so that he could
Yeah, unlike I think it was Amir Garrett puked on the baseball diamond yesterday.
You just got to throw up on the guy in front of you. You just get a timeout, get a stoppage. Just puke on him. What's the difference?
That's how you get a ball back from a fan. You just puke on him.
Just throw up.
You don't need to push him. You won't get fined if you puke on someone.
You're shooting 29%. You're already throwing up all over yourself. What's the difference? 29% from 3.
We knew we were in trouble for that game if you were rooting against the Lakers when there was a foul called in like the first possession when LeBron missed that alley-oop layup without being touched. It's like, okay, we know how this game's going to go.
LeBron and his miraculous foot, he was 10 of 25 from the field, but 5 of 5 for the free throw line. Here's the deal. A lot of people are like, oh, the refs are against Golden State. Oh, we can't get any calls. I don't necessarily disagree that the refs have been hot flaming garbage in this series. Here's my issue.
This series has just been hot flaming garbage.
It hasn't been great to watch for a series like, they say styles make fights. Well, you run and gun, long ball shooting Golden State Warriors versus whatever the hell the Lakers are in this hodgepodge. We think we can run, but we're not really sure. We got some big guys. We have some guards. We don't really shoot it well, but we don't shoot it terribly. And we get a lot of twos. We want to play in the paint. Here's the difference. You can't settle for jump shots and then complain about the fact that, we're not getting to the line. There's only one way to get to the line. That's to get to the bucket.
Well, that was Michigan State like the last 3 years, where it's like they kept taking long twos, and it's like, drive to the basket, get to the free throw line. You're a top 25 free throw shooting team, but you're not going to draw a lot of fouls taking 20-foot jumpers.
The Lakers last night, and applause to them, 20 for 20 as a team from the free throw line. As a team. This series goes back to Golden State now for Game 5, and it's been one of so far in the series, it's been a little lopsided. Each game has kind of seemed like a big winner. Game 1 was tight. It was a 5-point game, and then the Warriors rallied back, and they blew the Lakers out in Game 2. And then in Game 3, the Lakers housed them by 30. And then Game 4, much closer to Game 1 there. It's just bad. We had some rush decisions late in the game, leading to turnovers. It's not a good situation at all for my guys. The game that preceded that, my Miami Heat. I got a lot of teams, by the way, playing in the playoffs right now. In case you weren't keeping track.
This was an awful fourth quarter.
Whoa. You want to know what the fourth quarter score was?
Was it 12-10?
20-19. So
both
basically,
teams, they kept showing the field goal percentages for each team. I think there was 4 minutes left, and the Knicks were 2 of 11. Miami was 3 of 15. Both teams were shooting 20%, towards the end of the game in that quarter.
My man Duncan too is just. It's not falling right now. It's not. If it's not falling, you do not have to shoot it.
It's hard to get a rhythm when you only play 4 minutes a game and you're expected to go in and hit 3 threes.
Well, you know what would help? Making one of those shots would be great. But once again, you're coming
when
in.
You sit for the first 30 minutes of the game, then they're like, all right, go in and do your thing. It's like, okay, I'm not the machine. I'm not Albert Pujols.
But man, last series, he gets in and knocks down a couple shots. Okay, build the confidence a little bit. What's your routine? 1 of 8 from the floor in 11 minutes. How did you get 8 shots up in 11 minutes? I'm not telling you to be passive, but maybe wait a second, take a deep breath.
Oh, they got 11 shots because the Knicks could not rebound the ball.
Jeez, goodness gracious. New York.
How many offensive rebounds did Miami have in the game?
Offensive rebounds, 13.
Yeah, half of those came in the fourth quarter. Not lying. They had 6 in the fourth quarter, and I think it was on 3 straight possessions.
It's for what the New York Knicks have, they made a nice run. This series is over. And I saw something that it said LeBron James and Shaquille O'Neal are the best players to ever play for the Heat. But Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler are the best Miami Heat players. And he said, if you don't understand what I'm saying, I can't explain it to you. And I'm like, no, I get that. I really enjoy watching Jimmy Butler. I really do. That guy, he is moving higher and higher up my totem pole of my favorite players to watch in this league, because he just there's a certain level of grit and passion he plays with. Tonight, got 2 pairs. We have 1 pair of games. Both series tied at 2 apiece. Philly and Boston 7:30 on TNT, followed by the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. Also 2 games apiece. That one is at 10 o'clock. We'll step aside. We'll come back, talk to Brian Hana next on the Detroit Red Wings and their lack of lottery luck here on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Hello out there, we're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. Tension grows, the whistle blows, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game.
Golf season's here, folks. Matt Golden and his team, they're ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. It's Tullymore Golf Resort, and it's in Canadian Lakes. It's offering now one but two championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives, located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. And no matter where you're located at, it's smack dab in the middle of the state. It's easy to get to. So what you need to do is open up your computer, log on to tullymoregolf.com, tullymoregolf.com, or pick up the phone and call Matt at 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Danny Galen, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all join us now covering the Detroit Red Wings for the Winged Wheel Pod. Our good buddy, Ryan Hana. Find him on Twitter at Ryan Hana, WWP. Ryan, my friend, good morning to you. Somber times. How are you? How's life? How are things, my friend?
Well, I was prepared emotionally for ninth yesterday, but maybe not for Chicago winning. So, yeah, a little bit of a somber morning, but I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you, even though it's under the circumstance right here that the lottery ping pong ball is just not very nice to the Detroit Red Wings at all. And the Red Wings, who have had the most losses in the NHL over the last 7 seasons, and here are the lottery picks to show for it: 9-6-6, 4-6, 8-9. This really, truly is. I mean, this is the story. I mean, it would be nice to give like Steve Yzerman, hey, here's a 1-1, here's a Connor Bedard. What do they do now?
Oh, yeah, that would have been nice. It would have solved everything if the ping pong balls would have broken their way. But like you said, it just doesn't happen, not for the Red Wings. Maybe this is just the Red Wings holding off on the lottery luck so the Pistons can have Wembanyama, but we'll see about that in a little while, I guess. The reality is Detroit had a 1 in 20 shot of landing Connor Bedard and a 1 in 20 shot of landing Adam Fantilli. So it was nice to dream, but ninth overall this year is okay. You can work with it. There's some really good prospects there. Not only that, Yzerman has some toys to play with in terms of draft capital. He has a second first-round pick, which is looking to be maybe 17th overall, 3 second-round picks, potentially 2 firsts next year. Like you can work with it. So you just kind of have to pinch your nose because the Hawks are getting Bedard, and that blows objectively. All in all, though, there should be a step taken this offseason, though.
Well, when we look at the offseason, what exactly, like what's on the priority list for you, Ryan, when you take a look at this team that had a lot of promise early on and maybe surprised some folks early on, even though they didn't have their full complement of the roster, their full artillery wasn't even in service yet, and then we go back to that fateful two-game road trip there to Ottawa where it was like sell everybody off. The things have spiraled. The wheels are officially off the bus. What is on your list of priorities of areas that need to be addressed this offseason?
Well, the first one is probably the least fun one to talk about and not exactly the most newsworthy item, but it has to be growth from within. This is something that Steve Yzerman and Derek Malone both talked about in their postseason pressers, and it's the most realistic form of improvement the Red Wings can take. They need Lucas Raymond to be better, and it's not like he was terrible this year, but they just, it's time for him to take a big step. They're expecting more from guys like Joe Bellino. Obviously Mo Seider will continue to prove. And then you're hoping that Marco Kasper and Simon Edvinsson make the team whenever Edvinsson gets back from his shoulder injury. Make the team and make an impact. And you have to essentially bank on that kind of incremental improvement because the reality is, unless Yzerman goes out there and makes a shocker of a trade, there's just not a lot to do this offseason. Like the free agency pool is pretty thin, quite honestly. There's some guys they can grab. Maybe they win the David Severson sweepstakes, which is a little bit dramatic to say for probably a middle pair guy. On defense, maybe they pick up like a Mayfield or a Radko Gudas, but none of these guys are going to be world beaters. So, yeah, you look to free agency for some things, but the solution's just not there. The Red Wings need to add to plug in that hole left by Philip Hronek, but they really, really, really need to add scoring long term. This is a team that just didn't finish this year. They don't have the high-end scoring talent, It doesn't exist out there unless, like I said, Yzerman goes out and makes a trade. So you have to start to address that, and it's not all going to be in one fell swoop. So, yeah, the guys in the winged wheel right now are the ones going to have to be to do the bulk of that work.
That makes me very nervous. That makes me very nervous as a whole to know that, the internal development is got to be what kind of brings. I mean, Dylan Larkin, 32 goals, 79 points in the season. That's fantastic. But when we look down the list, you mentioned high end scoring. There just isn't a lot of that. David Perron was number 2 with 24 goals this season. Kubalik had 20. Lucas Raymond had 17. Were you Lucas Raymond 17 goals in 74 games, 28 assists, only 45 points? What did you make of Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider's sophomore years?
Both of them had some stuff to work on. I think Seider had a really rocky start. Part of that was he seemed to be kind of in his own head and expecting too much and trying to do too much. And another part of it is I don't think that pairing with Ben Sherratt was necessarily a good fit stylistically. It just didn't work out. But Seider figured it out, and once he did, it was the Seider of last season, if not better. So there's no real concerns for me from Seider's end. And really, with Lucas Raymond, he was up and down for a lot of the year. I think a lot of that's lost in there. People forget that he still was up in there. So by no means am I pressed about Lucas Raymond or thinking that this is going to be a problem long term. But yeah, you mentioned 17 goals. This is a guy whose shot is, I don't think he believes in his own shot enough. He needs to find a way to use that more. Probably needs to build some strength, get some weight behind him this offseason. He's done that before coming into the NHL, and you kind of have to replicate that process. And building that strength and that conditioning at the NHL level is also going to help him find space and adapt as teams kind of game plan around him. The first thing they did once they so-called got the tape on Lucas Raymond was they just collapsed on him. They took away all his time and space to make decisions and shoot, and he has to adjust around that. So the skill is still there, the talent is still there, and really it wasn't an awful year in terms of production, but yeah, he needs to find a way to really lean on that shot more and get up to NHL kind of strength and conditioning there.
Do you think that there is a way that the Red Wings might be able to move from that 9th selection? Because we talked there about Raymond. It's like, okay, there's going to need to be some assistance and some assistance like readily available that might not necessarily exist. And if we're banking on some wild, crazy development where someone's just going to appear into a 40-goal scorer magically out of a hat, I don't know if that's going to happen this offseason within their camp as well. So is there a way or a scenario that you could see that maybe the Red Wings move from number 9 where their selection was placed last night, that they maybe crack into that top 5?
Yeah, I mean, let me preface this by saying it's not likely. That top 5 has a lot of excellent players, like really excellent players, and it's going to be expensive to try to trade into it. But that's my pie in the sky scenario. The Red Wings have a lot to work with. Like I said, 9th and likely 17th in the first round this year, 3 second-round picks this year, potentially 2 first-round picks next year. They have quite a few assets. And that top 5, yeah, Connor Bedard's going first overall. Yeah, Adam Fintley is likely going second overall. That leaves you with Matvei Michkov, who's a complicated player because he could be the most close in talent to Connor Bedard, but he's also going to be in Russia guaranteed for the next 3 years. You have Leo Carlson, and you have Will Smith out of the U.S. NTDP. If you can land any one of those 3 at 5th, that would be absolutely worth it for me, especially if it's, a Michkov or Will Smith. And that's not a knock on Carlson, but I just think Michkov could be such a diamond in the rough. But to try to convince the teams, San Jose, Montreal, or Columbus to trade, they're going to ask for a lot. So maybe instead you're trading up to 6th, and then you have your choice of whoever else you like there. Or maybe, I don't know, there's a lot of things you can do. I would love the idea of trading into the top 5. My hot take is that they don't make both picks 9 and 17 as they are right now. I don't know necessarily that it's going to turn into trading the 9th overall pick. It could mean trading up from 17 to 12 or something to that effect.
Interesting. And with multiple picks in the first round, There's obviously a debate because, with the Pistons, they're going to need some ping pong luck as well. And I like to make the case that, okay, if the Red Wings, if we had to sacrifice the Red Wings ping pong ball and Connor Bedard, maybe it will pay off for Victor Wembanyama for the Detroit Pistons. My question then would be, if we have 2 picks in the top 20 as it stands right now, what do you think the probability, if the picks stay where they are at, the probability of both of those guys being able to see time with the Wings next season?
It's tough in the NHL. It's a different sport. I know literally, but it's a different sport when you consider it compared to basketball in the NFL, and where guys can make a more immediate impact. I think if you see the 9th overall pick play in the NHL this season, that would be pretty astounding. It doesn't happen very often, but for both 9 and 17, I wouldn't bank on that. It's just not how hockey prospects shake out. No matter how talented these kids are, this is a league of grown men who will absolutely punish you. So, if you're someone who's NHL ready to come in and make an impact day one, in all likelihood, you're going higher than 17th and 9th overall. So I wouldn't say that they're going to come in and one would be a fantastic outcome, but not both.
Okay, I can live with I can maybe live with one, and yes, the development much more like what we see with baseball, where you're selecting kids and you're gonna, whether they're playing overseas or they're playing on this continent here, OHL or WHL, or that maybe they're in the ECHL working their way to the AHL, depending on how the franchise views that pipeline. Maybe there will be some sort of consolation that maybe we see one of them get to the Wings, but you're really drafting for 2, 3, 4 years down the road, and as quick as somebody can get to us, the better off that the team might be. But that's kind of what the real hope is, to be able to get a guy like Bedard who could come in and play literally right away, like day one. Here he is, youngster. He's here. He's ready. And that's why that number 1 pick, not only for the talent, but I mean, just for the amount of time that you could have this guy, is just so valuable.
I know. Yeah. He's
heartbreaking.
He's a special player. He is a special player, and you almost didn't want to get too emotionally attached coming into the season or coming into the draft lottery, because he's, the best prospect to come through the draft since Austin Matthews. I don't know necessarily that I'm putting him at the Connor McDavid level, but it's not insane to talk about, which is something in its own right. So he's going to change the game for Chicago, and if he doesn't, it'll be one of the biggest draft busts in professional sports modern history.
Hey, no pressure, Mr. Bedard. No pressure at all. You got this. All right, I do want to ask you a little bit about the playoffs and what's taking place right now, if you don't mind, if we can hop into that real quick. Who do you like right now? Is there a team that, obviously with our Wings being out, I'm not going to lie, I'm a big bandwagon guy, so once the Red Wings are out, I will pick a horse, and I'll ride that horse until they lose, and then I'll jump on another horse. But I've been all in on the Edmonton Oilers. They were despicable last night. That was a terrible loss, 5-1 to the Vegas Golden Knights, at home, too, in Edmonton. Like, come on, guys. But is there a team that you are rooting for, or a team that you are most interested in following and watching?
All the teams out of the West are really interesting to me. Like you, I do want to see Edmonton play more hockey, just because I love watching, what Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are doing.
See, so, I knew I liked you, Ryan. I knew it. Great minds think alike, my friend.
I'm telling you, man. And, it's a little wonky over there, because I think all 4 of those teams left in the West could challenge for the Cup. Like, Seattle has blown through expectations. They're leading Dallas Stars right now 2-1, and there was a really good case to make coming into the playoffs that Dallas is the most complete team in the postseason, and I still think that might be true. And here Seattle, has them their backs up against the wall. Vegas, I think, was sorely overlooked just because people thought, oh well, Edmonton has to go through them, and so Vegas is going to lose. But that's not necessarily the case. They're the first seed in the West, and like you said, they took Edmonton to task last night. Obviously, what Florida's doing to Toronto is objectively hilarious and good for everyone. And, as much as you love to hate the guy when he's playing your team, watching what Matthew Tkachuk does is he's going to be the blueprint, the DNA for a lot of GMs in terms of how they want to build their teams, especially when it comes to playoff competitive type of rosters. I want to see the Edmonton Oilers go as far as possible, but anyone out of the West right now, I think all of those teams are going to be super challenging for whoever comes out of the East. Carolina and New Jersey, I mean, you can't discount Carolina, especially. That series is wonky 2 blowouts and then a blowout in another direction. These whole playoffs are a little bit chaotic. In terms of who I'm actually rooting for, outside of Edmonton, I mentioned Florida up 3-0 on Toronto. If they seal that, if they move into the conference finals, Detroit's second first-round pick that belongs to the Islanders that they got from Vancouver in the Hronek trade, that was poised to be 18th overall, but it moves to 17th overall if Florida moves to the conference finals. So there's an objectively rational reason for us to cheer for the Panthers to win at least one more game.
And I think that they're going to do that. I think they're going to advance in a sweep there of the Maple Leafs. I mean, boy, the fans north of the border, they're going to be just absolutely distraught. I'm glad that you're on board with the McDavid train and Draisaitl and Darnell Nurse and the gang out there in Edmonton. They're just a fun team to watch. I just need to get their heads screwed on straight Wednesday night to try to tie that series and maybe take this thing to 7. Who knows? Or just get it done in Game 6. But you got to win. Got to win a pair, a couple games here back to back if you are Edmonton. His name is Ryan Hana. You can find him on Twitter. Ryan Hana, WWP, the Wing Wheel Podcast. Ryan, my friend, as always, thank you so much for your time today, partner. We greatly appreciate it. And maybe one of these days we'll be able to talk about some lottery luck at some point.
Thanks for having me on, man. And yeah, maybe. I hope we don't have to talk about the lottery ever again, but I look forward to doing this soon again anyways.
Hey, thank you, my friend. And that's a great point, too. That's a great, you know what? Can we got to get past as a sports city. We got to get past looking at these lotteries and drafts and it should be supplemental, right? Hey, it's like where the Lions are going to find themselves next year after winning the Super Bowl. You know, pick 32. We're just adding another good player in the first round to what we already have.
And we do the Red Wings, I believe. We own the Islanders' first round pick, something like that. I think we also have like 3 second-round picks this year. So, I mean, they still have some capital. Not like, who is it? The Senators, I think, are picking like 6th and 14th or 12th.
Really?
Yeah, because they, it was a trade. So, yeah, they've got an opportunity to move up in the standings.
And look, I Justin Spiro was tweeting about this, and I don't. It's not much of a debate when it comes to Connor Bedard or Victor Wembanyama and who you want for Detroit. The case is easy. This isn't a basketball versus hockey thing, because I want the Pistons to be better than the Red Wings or anything of that nature. But it's Wemby because look, you have a limited roster size of maximum 15 guys, and a couple of those guys are on 2-way contracts with the G League, so they're never going to play. You have a rotation that might go 8 to 10 guys, maybe, that see the floor on a regular basis. Like, you absolutely root for Wemby. Like, Wemby is more important to the Pistons than Bedard is to the Red Wings. Like, the Red Wings have 2 picks inside the top 20. They should be able to acquire a couple of guys that will hopefully turn out to be something here. You know, so you have to go with Wembanyama because the individual impact of the basketball player is exponentially higher than any of the other sports simply because of the limited roster size and the higher minutes in usage. Like, that's just, it is what you're on the surface for a larger percentage of the time. For Danny and Ryan, I'm Anthony. Big thanks to Kyle Barlow and Ryan Hana. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
At Mercantile Bank, we believe supporting the communities we serve is a vital part of who we are. Our team is here to make a positive impact, a real difference, and we're always looking for leaders to join our team because we're not just a bank, we're a partner, here to support what matters most. Come grow with us. Visit mercbank.com to learn more and let's support our community together. Mercantile Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Employer.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But Do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Freddy's Foundation at #PopTheTap at freddythepizzaman.com. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Or email freddythepizzaman@gmail.com.